Let me ask you something most doctors never do. When was the last time you enjoyed a piece of cheese without feeling a little guilty? You see, a lot of people over 60 are told to cut out cheese completely. Too much fat, too much salt, bad for your heart, bad for your waistline. And while there's a bit of truth in that, the full story is a lot more interesting and a lot more hopeful. Because not all cheeses are created equal. In fact, some cheeses can actually support your bones, your brain, your digestion, even your energy levels. That's right. Cheese, when chosen wisely, isn't the enemy. It might just be one of the most comforting, nourishing foods you can still enjoy, without regret. But here's the problem. Most folks don't know which cheeses are truly senior-friendly, and which ones silently sabotage your health. And worse, some of the most popular choices in the grocery store are the ones doing the most damage, especially to your heart and memory. So today, we're going to set the record straight. I'll walk you through the best kinds of cheese to enjoy after 60, and the ones you might want to pass on. No fear. No judgment. Just real talk, backed by nutrition science, and delivered with care. If you've ever wondered, can I still enjoy cheese without hurting my health? The answer is yes. You just need to know which ones belong on your plate, and which should quietly stay in the fridge aisle. Let's dig in. Let's start with something soft, creamy, and surprisingly kind to your heart, fresh mozzarella. Not the dry stuff you find vacuum sealed next to the shredded cheddar. I'm talking about the real deal, mild, moist, tender mozzarella that's often packed in water or brine. The kind that still feels alive in your mouth. Now, most people don't realize this, but fresh mozzarella is actually one of the lowest sodium cheeses you can find. And when you're over 60, that matters. Because your heart doesn't need extra salt, it needs support. Every bite of salty, processed cheese might feel comforting for a moment, but over time, it can quietly strain your blood pressure and stiffen your arteries. Mozzarella, on the other hand, does the opposite. It's low in saturated fat. High in calcium and vitamin A, nutrients your bones and your eyes quietly crave as you get older. And here's something fascinating. Mozzarella also contains natural compounds called bioactive peptides. Think of them as tiny peacekeepers, gently helping to regulate your blood pressure and inflammation. Even better, if you've ever struggled with dairy, gas, bloating, that heavy feeling after a slice of pizza, mozzarella might be your gentle way back in. Because it's lower in lactose and often easier to digest than other cheeses. Your stomach doesn't have to work as hard, and your body still gets the reward. I once had a patient who told me she gave up all cheese after turning 60. Said her doctor told her it was too risky. But when she reintroduced just a few slices of fresh mozzarella into her meals, alongside tomatoes, basil, a drizzle of olive oil, something changed. Her appetite returned. Her digestion improved. And her mood? Let's just say her kitchen became a happier place again. That's the power of choosing well, not just cutting things out. You don't need to give up flavor to feel better. You just need to pick ingredients that work with your body, not against it. Ready for another one? Next on the list is something a little saltier, a little crumblier, and packed with more personality than you might expect, feta cheese. Now I know, feta has a bit of a reputation. Some folks love its tangy bite. Others wrinkle their nose. But when it comes to aging well, feta has a few tricks up its sleeve that are worth a second look. First off, it's not made from cow's milk, not traditionally, at least. Real feta comes from goat or sheep milk. And that's important, especially if your stomach hasn't been handling dairy too well lately. Goat and sheep milk tend to be gentler on digestion. Less of the heavy lactose. Fewer of the proteins that cause bloating or discomfort in some people. So for many seniors, feta is a way to enjoy cheese again without the consequences. But it's not just easier on your gut, it's good for it too. Feta is naturally rich in probiotics. And if you've ever heard me talk about gut health, you know your gut is more than just digestion. It's your second brain. It talks to your immune system. It influences your mood. It even helps regulate inflammation throughout the body. That means a little feta in your salad could be helping more than just your taste buds. And let's not forget the basics. Feta is a solid source of calcium, which your bones need now more than ever. But just as important, it's got vitamin B12. That's the quiet hero behind nerve health, memory, even red blood cell formation. And the truth is, as we age, our ability to absorb B12 drops, even if we're eating well. So every little bit helps. I once knew a woman, late 70s, who swore by her daily Greek salad. She made it like clockwork: cucumbers, olives, tomatoes, and a small handful of feta. She said it kept her belly happy and her brain clear. Maybe it was the routine, or maybe it was the nutrients. Probably both. Either way, she always seemed just a little more energized after lunch. Feta's not for everyone. But if you're looking for something that adds flavor, supports digestion, and offers real nutritional value without being heavy or processed, this little white cheese might be worth bringing back into your life. And remember, just a little goes a long way. Now let's talk about something you've probably seen 1,000 times, maybe in a sandwich, maybe on a cheese tray: Swiss cheese. The one with the holes. It doesn't look fancy. It's not trendy. But when it comes to health after 60, sometimes the most familiar things are the most quietly powerful. Swiss cheese is naturally lower in sodium than most other cheeses. That alone makes it a better choice for your heart, especially if you've been keeping an eye on your blood pressure. You don't have to sacrifice flavor for your arteries. You just need to choose the right slice. And here's something that surprises a lot of my patients: Swiss cheese is practically lactose-free. That means if dairy has been causing bloating or discomfort, Swiss might not. It gives you the richness and satisfaction of cheese, without upsetting your stomach. A small win, maybe, but in later life, small wins stack up into big improvements. But the part one really want you to hear is this: Swiss cheese is one of the few that naturally contains vitamin K2. Now, I know that might sound technical, but here's what it means in real life. K2 helps guide calcium where it needs to go. Into your bones. Not into your arteries. And that matters more than people realize. As we age, calcium doesn't always stay in the right places. It starts showing up in arteries, where it doesn't belong. That hardening, what we call calcification, is one of the hidden dangers behind heart disease in older adults. K2 helps prevent that. So a slice of Swiss isn't just tasty. It's protective. Add in the fact that it's rich in protein and vitamin B12, and you've got a cheese that supports your muscles, your brain, and your bones, all in one bite. I had a gentleman in his 80s tell me once, I thought I had to give up sandwiches forever. But when we swapped the salty processed slices for a thin layer of real Swiss, and paired it with whole grain bread and greens, he said it was the first time in years he enjoyed lunch without guilt. And his blood pressure? It stayed right where it needed to be. That's the magic of knowing your options. You don't have to give up the foods you love. You just have to know which versions love you back. And then there's goat cheese. Soft. Tangy. A little creamy, a little crumbly. It's the kind of cheese that doesn't try too hard, but once you give it a chance, it has a way of winning you over. What makes goat cheese special isn't just the flavor, it's the way your body responds to it. As we get older, our digestion changes. Foods we used to handle just fine start making us feel heavy, bloated, or uncomfortable. And for many, that's where goat cheese steps in as a gentle alternative. You see, goat cheese contains different kinds of fats than cow's milk cheeses. They're called medium-chain fatty acids. Now, that might sound complicated, but here's the simple version. These fats are easier for your body to break down and turn into energy. They don't linger in your gut, and they don't slow you down. They nourish without the burden. And for anyone who's ever felt foggy or sluggish after a heavy meal, that can be a quiet game changer. But that's not all. Goat cheese is lower in both lactose and casein, the proteins that often trigger bloating or discomfort in dairy-sensitive folks. That means even if you've stepped away from cheese in recent years, this one might be worth inviting back. And then there's what it gives you. It's full of probiotics, the good bacteria your gut needs to stay balanced, especially as you age. A healthy gut means a stronger immune system, better digestion, and even a more stable mood. That's not hype, that's decades of research finally being taken seriously. It's also rich in trace minerals, zinc, selenium, a touch of omega-3s. These are the behind-the-scenes nutrients that quietly support everything from joint health to brain clarity. One of my patients, a 67-year-old woman who had nearly given up on dairy, started adding just a tablespoon of goat cheese to her roasted vegetables at dinner. Nothing fancy. No recipe books. Just a small change. Within weeks, she told me she was sleeping better, thinking clearer, and for the first time in years, her stomach felt calm after meals. Sometimes, it's not about doing more. It's about choosing better. Goat cheese may not be in every fridge, but if you're looking for food that's gentle, supportive, and deeply nourishing, it's worth a space on your plate. Now, let's talk about the cheeses that might not be doing you any favors, especially as you move through your 60s, 70s, and beyond. I want to be clear, this isn't about scaring you, and it's certainly not about blaming anyone. Most of us grew up on these cheeses. They were easy, affordable, familiar. But the truth is, some of the most common choices in the grocery store can quietly work against your health. Take American cheese. That smooth, bright orange square that melts just right on a grilled sandwich. It's not really cheese, not in the traditional sense. It's processed, engineered, full of additives, extra sodium, and synthetic ingredients that your body was never meant to deal with. And here's something most people don't know, many processed cheeses contain synthetic phosphates. That might not sound alarming, but those compounds can interfere with how your body absorbs calcium. So even if you're getting calcium from other foods, your bones might not be able to hold onto it. That's not what you want at this stage in life. Processed cheeses are also loaded with salt, and too much sodium isn't just about blood pressure. It can tax your kidneys, contribute to inflammation, and increase your risk of stroke. And if your circulation or heart health is already a concern, that's a risk not worth taking. Then there's blue cheese. Some people love it. It's bold. It's sharp. But for seniors, especially those with sensitive systems, it can be more trouble than it's worth. You see, blue cheese contains tyramine and histamine, which can trigger spikes in blood pressure or even migraines in some people. And if that weren't enough, many versions are high in saturated fat and sodium. Worse, if the cheese is unpasteurized, and some imported blue cheeses are, that can carry listeria, a dangerous bacteria that can cause serious illness, especially in those with weaker immune systems. And what about cream cheese? It may be soft and mild, but it's mostly saturated fat and not much else. Low in protein, low in nutrients, and surprisingly easy to overeat. It spreads well, yes, but it also spreads problems. It's been linked to abdominal weight gain in older adults, which is one of the highest risk markers for chronic disease. Finally, there are cheese spreads, the kind that come in jars, tubs, or foil-wrapped wedges. These are often the worst offenders. High in sodium, high in trans fats, and packed with artificial preservatives. They may seem harmless in small amounts, but over time, those small amounts add up. And your body keeps the score. You don't have to be afraid of cheese. You just need to know which ones support your well-being, and which ones quietly chip away at it. Food is not just fuel. It's information. It tells your body what to build, what to repair, and what to defend against. And when you choose better cheese, you're not being picky, you're being wise. So here's what I hope you take from all this. Cheese isn't the enemy. Aging isn't the problem. The real issue is not knowing how to choose what truly supports your body, your bones, your brain, your digestion, your peace of mind. Because food, at this stage in life, isn't just about taste anymore. It's about care. About listening to what your body needs, not just what your habits crave. And yes, you can still enjoy food. You can still savor, still delight, still treat yourself, but you can do it in a way that gives back to you, not just takes. So maybe next time you open the fridge, you pause for a moment. You skip past the processed slices or the salty spread, and instead, you reach for something simple, real, alive. A few ounces of fresh mozzarella. A crumble of goat cheese on your roasted vegetables. A slice of Swiss with your whole grain toast. Not because someone told you to, but because you've decided you deserve better. And you do. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's not about rules or guilt or being perfect. It's about dignity. About presence. About saying, I'm still here, and I'm worth the good stuff. So eat well. Eat with joy. Eat like your health is still yours to shape, because it is. If you find this helpful, give it a thumbs up. If not, type 0 in the comments, but if it helps, let us know by typing 1. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-saving health tips.